Can you imagine? A Ming Dynasty national treasure originally housed in the National Museum one day appeared at an auction house and was auctioned off at a high price. This isn't a movie plot, it's a real event that happened at the Nanjing Museum in China. BBC Chinese published an article on December 26 titled, "Nanjing Museum Embroiled in Suspicious Case of Selling Cultural Relics." A summary of the developments. The article states, the incident began when a scroll painting titled Spring in Jiangnan by the Ming Dynasty painter Chu Ying, donated to the Nanjing Museum in 1959, was discovered appearing at an auction this May with a pre-sale estimate of 12.56 million. Descendants of the donor, the Pang family, reported this. Even more bizarrely, according to the museum's records, this painting, Spring in Jiangnan, was identified as a forgery by Chinese experts in the 1960s and subsequently sent to the Guangzhou Provincial Cultural Relics Store for disposal. Later, in 2001, it was purchased by a mysterious individual for 6,800 RMB, which is $970. On social media, this transaction has been questioned as deliberate theft. This matter sounds perplexing. The blogger Jingjing below says that the incident touches upon the most sensitive aspect of China's cultural relics management. It has to be said, this is truly outrageous, almost like a plot from a novel. More than 60 years ago, the descendants of the renowned Chinese collector Pang Lai-chen donated a scroll painting titled Spring in Jiangnan by the top Ming Dynasty painter Chu Ying to the Nanjing Museum. Guess what? This year, this painting actually appeared in the catalog of a Beijing auction house with an estimated price of RMB 88 million. This shocked Miss Pang Shuling, the great-granddaughter of the donor, who immediately reported it. The painting was temporarily withdrawn from the auction, but the matter wasn't over. Miss Pang, furious, sued the Nanjing Museum, asking only one question. How could the paintings our family donated to the country be sold without our knowledge? How did they escape from the warehouse? The Nanjing Museum responded, but the response was even more confusing. They claim that these paintings have been identified as forgeries by experts as early as the 1960s and disposed of according to regulations in the 1990s. Disposed of? This statement raises many questions. First, they claim it's a forgery, but they can't provide evidence of its provenance or any basis for authentication. Second, even if it was determined to be fake at the time, were the donor's family notified over the years? The fact that it was disposed of without a word is inappropriate. Third, the Pang family's collection is renowned and prestigious in the art world. How did donating it result in a pile of fakes? Therefore, this matter, ostensibly about the whereabouts of a painting, actually touches upon the most sensitive aspect of Chinese cultural relic management. Is the procedure transparent? Is the responsibility clear? Who will protect the donor's goodwill and trust? Ms. Pang has now applied to the court to compel the museum to provide detailed provenance records for these paintings. We hope the law can provide a clear explanation. How exactly was this fantastical journey of Spring in Jiangnan written? We'll see. So why does such an absurd situation occur? The reason is that in China, under the CCP's rule, museums not only safeguard cultural relics, but also possess three powers simultaneously: authenticating authenticity, determining the level of cultural relics, and recommending disposal methods. In other words, the same institution is both judge and jury. Once an artifact is deemed a fake by internal experts, it immediately loses its status as a national treasure. This is especially true for the authentication of calligraphy and paintings. It doesn't rely on DNA testing or fingerprint comparison. It heavily depends on the appraisal of prestigious experts. In other words, the appraisal itself is an act of power. If the appraisal conclusion is written as questionable, late imitation, or fake, then a genuine artifact can become unimportant on paper. That is to say, what's truly terrifying isn't the disappearance of national treasures, but their disappearance being compliant, professional, and documented. These national treasures are being slowly and legally transferred under the CCP system, where corruption is rampant. Besides the Nanjing Museum incident, there is another even more astonishing event. Logically, stories of copying famous paintings and calligraphy, creating forgeries, and then switching them with genuine ones. Such stories would be astonishing even in novels and historical accounts. In real life, carrying out such a switcheroo would require not only superb copying skills, but also access to these precious collectibles independently, bypassing the layers of supervision of cultural relic institutions, and having channels to resell them. Meeting all these conditions simultaneously is no easy feat. However, such a situation actually occurred at the Guangzhou Academy of Fine Arts. Listen to the detailed explanation from blogger Rongrong says.
Do you think
the Nanjing Museum incident is outrageous enough? Let me tell you something even more astonishing. Xiao Yuan, the librarian of the Guangzhou Academy of Fine Arts, used his access to the collection's vault keys to secretly take 143 paintings, works from masters like Qi Baxi, Zhang Daiqian, and the 8 great merchants Pan Tian Tao, home in multiple separate trips. Guess what he did with them? Collect them or sell them. The truth is, he made copies of them, kept the originals, and returned the forgeries to the library. Isn't that amazing? And of those 143 paintings, 125 were auctioned off by an auction house he commissioned. He made approximately $5 million. There are still 18 paintings left unsold. Their estimated value is around $2.4 million. If you heard his specific methods, I suspect you'd be speechless. This Xiao Yuan truly lives up to his reputation as an art expert. Once, while digitizing the collection at this library, he discovered that the library had quite a few fake paintings mixed in. But his first reaction wasn't to report it. He was thinking, why can others paint, but I can't? Here, the blogger also specifically points out that although a regulation stipulates that 3 administrators must be present to open the storage room door, because Xiao Yuan is the curator, he had a complete set of keys made for the library's art storage room. From then on, he could open the door and brazenly take the genuine works home. To make the fake painting look exactly like the real thing, Xiao Yuan spent $2,800 to $4,300 to buy Ming Dynasty Xuan paper. He even tried to replicate the ink grinding and the process as closely as possible, achieving a truly one-to-one high-quality replica. This is what we often call a high-grade A-grade fake from an official store. When the warehouse keeper received the paintings, he only counted the quantity and didn't have the ability to authenticate them, right? Let me tell you a story with a rather delicious detail. After Xiao Yuan was arrested by the police showed him the fake paintings in the warehouse, and he was dumbfounded. He said that some of them weren't the paintings he had copied years ago. It turns out that later someone thought his imitations were too realistic and mistook them for genuine works, so they made an even more fake copy. The fake painting was swapped back, turning this into a blatant case of forgery. And what's even more ironic? Among the 125 paintings he sold, he also mixed in some of his own second-hand copies. He only intended to test the waters, but ended up selling them as all genuine works. Even China's top auction houses couldn't tell the difference. Actually, from the Guangzhou Academy of Fine Arts to the Nanjing Museum, I think this is just the tip of the iceberg. This reminds me of a line from the movie The Kingdom of Women, which I could also send to the relevant departments. Open your eyes and see, I don't believe you're blind. I suddenly remembered that I haven't seen the Terracotta Army yet. I need to hurry up and go. If I don't go soon, it might be replaced in a couple of days. Here, we'd like to add some background information about Xiao Yuan. Xiao Yuan was born in Ningyuan, Hunan Province in 1957. He is a writer and painter who has published several books on art history and theory. He was arrested in 2014, stealing famous paintings and sentenced to death with a 2-year reprieve. He died in prison in 2017. During the trial, Xiao Yuan stated that he believed his forgeries would remain in the library forever because he was the only person there who understood art. The others were only good at counting. Therefore, he wasn't discovered until 10 years later. Everyone knows China is a paradise for counterfeiters. Anything can be faked, including cultural relics. In Luoyang, Henan Province, there was a village called Yanyunjian, a forgery village, specializing in replicating bronze artifacts. The villagers possess special formulas and skilled techniques, making their bronze replicas almost indistinguishable from the real thing. An antique expert once authenticated the village's replicas as genuine. Listen to this villager's introduction. She says that many of the artifacts exhibited in Chinese museums come from this village. It's truly incredible. Just how amazing can a small workshop be? Things made casually by these aunties can even end up in museums. When I entered this village, I immediately sensed its uniqueness. Bronze artifacts were displayed everywhere, in the streets and alleys. Pushing open the door of one house, I saw several aunties polishing a Sanxingdui model. Sister, you're a housewife at home, but here you've become a craftswoman. This Miss Liu is 45 years old and has over 20 years of experience. At first, we made bronze mirrors. Initially, the government didn't support this kind of work, thinking it was counterfeiting. What we sold were actually handicrafts. Some middlemen sold them as antiques. In the 1980s, an antique dealer bought a national treasure called Oxnose elephant back mirror for $11,000. After the police had experts authenticate it, they insisted it was genuine. However, the truth was that a middleman bought it from a villager for $28 and then sold it back to the antique dealer as genuine. From then on, Yanyunjian village became famous. At its peak, the bronze replicas made here were so popular that they were sold out at wholesale prices. However, because they were so realistic, they terrified collectors and appraisers. The Sisters exhibition hall was filled with bronze artifacts. These things were all ordered by the museum staff. After these items are processed to appear old, they will be put in a museum. Many of the items on display in the National Museum are made here. Besides that, she also pulled out a design plan. That ancient Chinese cooking vessel exhibited at the World Expo was bought here, then resold in Anyang City in Henan Province, and then delivered to the World Expo by a middleman. This ding weighs 875 kilograms and is identical to the real thing. The weight is identical to the genuine article, and the rust color on the exterior is exactly the same. It turns out that the other tripods exhibited in the Henan Pavilion at the World Expo were also made by these Dama. The craft of bronzeware making is being passed down in workshops, but what they are inheriting is not just a skill for making a living, but also a splendid history and a living cultural heritage. Furthermore, in Nanjing County, Luoyang City, there is a village called Nanshishan, which specializes in making fake Tang Sun Cai, that is, Tang tricolored pottery, hence its nickname China's first Tang Sun Cai village. Tang Sun Cai is a type of low-temperature lead-glazed pottery popular in the Tang Dynasty of China, named for its primary colors of yellow, green, and white. It represents the essence of Tang Dynasty art and culture. Let's follow this blogger to see just how realistic their fake Tang Sun Cai are.
这里是洛阳最神秘的村庄，这里家家户户都是造假高手。
This is the most mysterious village in Luoyang. Every household here makes counterfeits. Let me tell you, many of their creations are so realistic that even experts can't tell the difference. They can make 23 million a year. The Tang tricolored potteries that we usually only see in museums are everywhere here, like they are free. You can even take one piece for the price of a pack of cigarettes. Many museums across the country source their collections from here. Today, come with me to the Tang Sun Cai town and broaden our horizons. We are currently in Nanshishan village, Mengjin County, Luoyang City, but the streets are empty and there's nothing special about it. This doesn't seem like the #1 Tang Sun Cai village in China. But these things by the roadside tell me that this must be the place. Let's take a look further in. I randomly picked a bungalow to go inside and found that the floor was covered with these handicrafts. They don't look as magical as the legends say. Until this older brother took me to the second floor of this house, I suddenly understand why this village is so famous. All of these are exquisite Tang Sun Cai, so beautiful, a dazzling array. Look at this. This is the Sun Cai Black Pomelo horse, a national treasure of the Luoyang Museum. Does it look familiar? There are 4 of these here. This is the Tang Newer, a treasured piece in many museums. These are various painted pottery jars, and this is a beautiful camel. There's also peony porcelain, a gift from the museum to foreign guests, and here, there's everything here. It's truly beautiful. Brother said that every household here makes Tang Sun Cai, and he learned the craft from his grandfather since childhood. This village alone has hundreds of Tang Sun Cai production bases. 95% of China's Tang Sun Cai comes from here. It's impossible to make them anywhere else, and each family has its own secret recipe. The true craftsmanship is passed down through generations. Since it's so difficult to see genuine national treasures in China, where can we see them? We recommend 4 places. First, the National Palace Museum, Taipei. A mainland netizen commented, in 1949, the Kuomintang retreated to Taiwan, taking a large number of cultural relics with them from the mainland. Now, all of these relics are in the National Palace Museum in Taipei. Not a single one is lost. I think this truly demonstrates the superiority of our system. Indeed, from December 1948 to February 1949, former Taiwanese President Chiang Kai-shek transported 2,972 crates of exquisite treasures from the National Palace Museum and the Central Museum in 3 batches from Nanjing to Keelung, Taiwan by sea. These relics totaled approximately 608,000 pieces, all currently housed in the National Palace Museum in Taipei. Due to the limited exhibition space at the National Palace Museum, only 1% to 2% of the total collection is displayed in both permanent and special exhibitions. It would take 100 years to rotate all of the items on display. Second, the British Museum. The British Museum boasts one of the richest collections of Chinese artifacts overseas. As of 2025, its collection spans all periods from the Neolithic age to the present day, totaling approximately 23,000 pieces. In November 2024, the British Museum received a formal donation of 1,700 rare Chinese ceramics from the Sir Percival David Foundation, bringing its total collection to approximately 10,000 pieces, making it the most important ceramics collection outside the Chinese-speaking world. Currently, approximately 2,000 pieces are on permanent display. Due to space limitations, the British Museum's permanent Chinese artifacts only account for about 10% of its collection. Third, the Metropolitan Museum of Art. The Metropolitan Museum of Art's collection of Chinese art is one of the most comprehensive and important in the Western world. It encompasses over 14,000 Chinese artifacts dating from 3000 BC to the present day. From Neolithic jade and Shang and Zhou bronzes to world-renowned Song, Yuan, Ming, and Qing Dynasty paintings and calligraphy, Ming Dynasty furniture, and Qing Dynasty porcelain, it has it all. The museum has even recreated a complete Ming Dynasty courtyard, Ming Xuan. Fourth, the Guimet Museum. The Guimet Museum is one of the largest museums of Asian art in Europe. Its Chinese collection is richly sourced, including a large number of Dunhuang artifacts, as well as precious documents and murals brought back from Dunhuang by the French archaeologist Paul Pelliot. It houses over 20,000 Chinese artifacts spanning 7,000 years of history. These include murals, a large collection of Tang tricolored pottery, Song, Yuan, Ming, and Qing Dynasty porcelain, and exquisite ancient bronzes. That's all for today. If you enjoy our content, please give us a thumbs up, subscribe, leave a comment, and share it with a friend. We appreciate your support, and we'll see you next time.